prompted such a big change?
Oh, do you really want to know the story?
I do want to know the story because
it goes back to your girl Phaedra. You were not gonna believe this. I put it in the book. I put it in the book. Listen,
how was Phaedra as your lawyer? I went to jail every time.
This is every time. Every time. So
all right, Phaedra Parks.
I was pregnant. And this is and I'm sure you interviewed my son and he talked about his father who passed away.
Yes.
So we were all in this together.
Yes.
So I had gotten pregnant and we were working, right? And so Phaedra was trying to convince me that I didn't need to have another baby, right? And so we go to the grocery store and she's on the phone with her mama, right? I put this in the book. They made me take it out because I couldn't prove it, but that's who I know she was on the phone with. And she gave her some type of potion. All I remember, we went and bought some type of one big red root. We boiled it along with some other stuff. She told me to drink it, right? It's supposed to make me have a miscarriage, right? Wow. I never miscarried. His daddy, on his hands and knees, begged me to have my child, right? And so now that I'm older and I'm realizing that it was never my life to begin with, right? We say my body, my choice, but if it's our body, then we would be the one that's being terminated during the abortion. So it's not our body. I don't have the same body as my mother. My son, whether I agree with his life or not, guess what? I'm glad that I gave him life. I'm glad that he's alive, right? That's my job. So his life is not mine. And so that's what began to wake me up about abortion. And then my godmother, Elvita King, who is a prolific, pro-life warrior. She's been in this fight since Roe v. Wade first passed. And she was one of the people that got me when I got out of prison and kind of put me up under her wing and helped build me back up. And that was her whole movement. So walking with her, I started realizing firsthand the racism behind Planned Parenthood and how all of this started to keep us a minority, and it has worked.
You know it's crazy? There's a Planned Parenthood in every neighborhood. I live in a very upscale neighborhood, and if you go 3 blocks down the street, there's a Planned Parenthood. And surprisingly, there are no Black people protesting. It's only white people that are protesting against Planned Parenthood being in their neighborhood, well, our neighborhood.
You know why?
Why?
Because look at it. Like everything we hear right now is people of color, people of color, right? So people of color now, they put us all in the same bowl. People of color, you got brown, you got Latino, you got the Asians, you got the tan, anybody that's not white, right? So it's now people of color, and then you have white people. Well, if you got all of these people of color and all of these immigrants coming in and all of these people mixing, right, ethnicities, then of course their number, right, is depopulating. Right? Now, I'm not saying this is their reason, right, for wanting to value life or fight life, because some people just don't believe that you should kill babies, because that's just what it is, right? I'm saying, where are we in that fight also? If we see all of these white people, like even the March for Life that they have every year, I'm up there crying real tears, because I'm the only nigga out there. Everybody want me to answer on behalf of the Black community. Right? Don't y'all care about y'all babies? 80% of their Planned Parenthoods are in Black neighborhoods. Don't y'all care? Don't y'all want y'all babies to live? And I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, why? Where are my people at? Where are we in this fight? And so, if I'm the one of this generation to blow the horn and say, hey, y'all, let's take another look at this. No judgment, right? I've been there, I've done it. But when do we start telling the truth?
I gotta tell you, I think if anyone, what changed my mind about, now I'm pro-life when it comes to people's situations, because I can't tell a young girl who's severely impoverished, who was probably raped by her dad, what to do with her baby. I would never do that. And I think, allegedly if Phaedra did that, that is very, very wrong. I have never opened my mouth to tell another woman what they should do. Now, have I promoted birth control to kind of control while you're trying to figure out life? Absolutely. You
now
know
listen, I'm not opposed to that, right?
Because and that was going to be my next question. How do you feel about birth control?
Well, here's the thing. See, birth control actually prevents the pregnancy from taking place, right? Abortion is not birth control. Abortion is population control, because abortion kills and terminates the life after the life has already been created. So if we don't create the life, then we don't have to end the life. So I'm not like an extremist. It's just that me saying that I'm a pro-life advocate, if there was a young girl that was in a situation and needed counsel, my counsel would be that the life is a blessing. That would be my counsel. And I don't have the right to make the decision for anyone, but I can advocate on behalf of that life, which is that baby. And I am Auntie Angie, and I've saved 58 Black babies to this date from abortion. They are all my God babies. I'm still in contact with them. I just think that, you know, one day they're going to grow up, and I'm the reason that they're here.
My mother saved me from abortion.
See, and your life is your own.
Right.
And like even with me, with my mom is dead and gone, but I'm still alive. And I still get to live life. Right. She gave me life.
Yeah. Now, I personally think if anybody was able to kind of take a tour of behind the scenes of any abortion clinic, it would stop anybody. Because first, you know, once I started doing research, the first time I had an abortion, because I had two, I was 19. And of course, you know, I'm broke, I'm with a guy, you know, he ain't got no money. And my mom is like, you know, I'll raise the baby. And I'm like, no. Like, you know what I'm saying? I barely made it out this motherfucker alive. You know what I'm saying? No. And so I made that choice without even thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? The second time, I kind of got a chance to see like what goes on behind the scenes, because a lot of people don't want to think about it. But when you see them just suctioning babies from they could be upon conception all the way up to like 6 months. Like,
no, it's beyond that.
They're pulling.
They have legalized it. It's all the way up until the moment of birth now.
And they're pulling it out, and if it's a baby that's alive, you know what I'm saying, and they kill it, you know what I'm saying, doing a preterm birth, they're selling the parts, using the stem cell,
and that's what
it's like, it's heartless.
That's what I was going to say, because it's like none of us, right, that have ever had an abortion has got up and said, hey, give me my baby's remains. Everybody gets up and tries to run out of that clinic as fast as they can. And what do you think happens with all of those fresh organs, those fresh livers and hearts and brains and those cells? And it is very, very horrific.
Yeah.
And we have to wake up to it. And I'm going to tell you something, you know, when it comes to any type of agenda, whether it's a depopulation agenda or anything, Black people are always the first to go.
Oh, of course. You know, we have the power to literally eradicate every other race.
Right. We don't hear them saying white women need access to abortion. It's always women of color.
Because women of color, we have the power to birth any baby of race, and we have the power to eradicate every other race because of our DNA. And so, and that's why, you know, when I really sat down to listen to your views, I was like, wait, we're the same. Our energy is just, it can just kind of overpower. You know, you have an energy, I have an energy, and I feel that if people did take the time to really listen to what you were saying, they would see you as out here as an advocate for pro-Black life. You know, and, you know, to the Trump issue, because right now you're roped into some really, really heavy stuff. Okay, no one knows. We're exclusively breaking it here that you are tied into the insurrection that took place on January 6th, and so they are currently they've put together, the United States government, a current investigative team to look into you and several others of your part during the election transfer of power. Right. And so you've sent me the official document, and I did see your name listed below where they said, you know, that you're being investigated for possibly organizing the rallies, organizing the violence, you know, promoting the violence and things like that. And were you there?
Oh, absolutely. I was in Washington, D.C. I was not at the Capitol. So I actually went up the day before because I spoke. And I spoke the day before in front of a crowd about fighting for the innocence of our children, which is on tape. The next morning, we were set to go to the president's rally. Now, for me personally, I wanted to go. I figured this was going to be his last speech. As people know that followed me, I had supported him, and this wasn't my first rally. I had gone to just about all of them. So I kind of know the atmosphere. I kind of know the people.
Now, how many Black people were out there?
Not many. Not many.
It was
Not many.
It was a Proud Boy moment.
Well, you know, the Proud Boys are of all different ethnicities now. I mean, I know that there's the media trying to portray it as if it's just white, but they're not. In fact, one of the leaders, Enrique, he's Latino. A lot of them are black as well. So the Proud Boys are like ex-military, ex-cop, not this white supremacist thing that they often try to push. So there are black people there, but we're sparse, of course. And then for those of us that's there, the media is not going to want to show that. But I'm in the security, I'm in the golf cart, and I'm going up to the front to get in the VIP line. Okay. And I saw those guys that were like all over the TV. They had the horns and had their faces painted. I think one of the guys had on the yellow shirt. And something in my spirit just went right. Like, and I've been like this ever since I was a little girl. Some just said, leave. Some just said, leave. And so I'm looking around, and I tell my security, I said, you know what, I'm not gonna stay. I said, something's just not right. It's like the atmosphere shifted. And I'm leaving, and I'm on video leaving. And I go back to the hotel, and I'm grabbing my stuff, and I'm telling my girlfriend, Shayla, who was with me, I'm like, listen, we gotta get out of here. I said, because if we don't make it out of here before Trump gets through speaking, I said, then we're gonna be caught up in all type of trouble. We have to get out of here. So we got our bags, and we're walking because everything is blocked off because, of course, the president is in the area. So we literally had to walk almost 16 blocks with bags to get out of the perimeter just to get in an Uber or Lyft to take us to the airport. By the time I was 3 blocks away from the exit of the perimeter, I heard them playing Trump's song. And when I heard them playing Trump's song, after that, I heard like this big, loud roar, right, from the audience. And it was so weird because it sounded like, if you ever watch those movies, like those castle movies, like back in the day when they getting ready to charge the castle, and it was like this energy, or like, it was like this gust of wind that just pushed me forward when you heard this loud roar, and it was like just pushing me. By the time I got in the Uber, we were on our way to BWI, and I want to say by the time I made it into the airport, my phone is blowing up, everything's all over the TV, they're like, hey, they're storming the Capitol, they're storming the Capitol. And I'm thanking God that I listened to my senses. And I never heard, not one time, even while I was walking or in any type of recordings or anything, the president tell anyone to attack, the president tell anyone to be violent or anything of that nature.
Well, he did mention there wasn't going to be a peaceful transfer of power.
Now, see, I don't remember that part. Now, you're going to have to play that clip for me.
I'll play the clip. Because he did say, listen, there will not be a peaceful transfer of power. And so when you have supporters that are diehard Trump supporters, I mean, you know how they get in politics. I would take that as a supporter, like, okay, he wants it to be some shit. Well, let me. And so I'm not going to say he organized it.
I don't feel as though he organized it, or if he wanted them to do anything that happened that day. I can say that honestly. And I've had a chance to work with him personally, and he's never incited any type of violence in my presence whatsoever. But I will say this. I will say, as a Black woman, right, that's from the hood, and also have my foot in politics some, that I am more pissed off about the white people dressed in all black, right, that came and burned down our communities, right, and destroyed our businesses in the name of Black Lives Matter than I am about a bunch of white people storming the Capitol. And I'll tell you why.
I really don't give two shits about that either.
I don't give a fuck about a bunch of white people. Because I've always said this. I said, put the responsibility where it lies, right? And I'm not saying that this is any advice that I would give anybody, but even in the Black Lives Matter movement, if we're upset that police officers are killing Black men, then why are not burning down the police station? You know what I'm saying? Go burn down City Hall, go to the Capitol. Why come to the Black neighborhoods, little badass white kids dressed in all black, tear up our shit, and then you gone home, right? But just because you said Black Lives Matter, we've completely overlooked that. The Wendy's right now, University, that's where I grew up, where Sequoia Turner, the baby that lost her life, still empty, still desolate. These organizations got all of this money, didn't even come back and rebuild. The issue that I have with that is, guess who worked at that Wendy's? The mothers that lived in the hood. The sisters that was working that little half part-time job to take care of their kids. And I mean, it's like, We harm ourselves. We allow people to harm us, but because they give us a feel-good message, it's okay. Now, here it is, me, your sister. I ain't marched in nan Black Lives Matter protest, right? I was at the FBI conference. I did demand the arrest of the officers that killed George Floyd, right? But I haven't been on the front lines of any protests. I haven't had any microphone telling anybody justice or else, or burn it down, or no justice, no peace. That's not me. My only message has been fight for our children. And I think everybody knows why.
So why would the United States government
and listen,
you in such a, I mean, this is pretty serious.
Listen, the FBI already cleared the president and Roger Stone. This is not the FBI. This is Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer deciding that they're gonna create their own committee to just be nosy and get in everybody's business to see if there was an insurrection after the FBI has already cleared these people.
Because I find it strange that your Instagram, your Twitter came down right around the same time that Trump's Twitter was taken down. So they obviously feel that you are some type of threat and you are somehow working with these right-wing organizations, these extremist organizations,